What is going on, everyone? Israel back again with another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the San Francisco Giants because this team's in a really interesting spot. So if we look at the Giants' last couple seasons, they've been in a weird spot. Obviously, they had that crazy run in 2021 with 107 wins. But the last two seasons, they've been about 500 and really haven't pushed past that since. Obviously, they did fire Gabe Kapler, their manager, who was, I thought was a good manager, but they obviously going to choose another way with him. And he obviously going on to do better things at that point. So new manager in this staff. So obviously, Bob Melvin's coming on in to manage the squad. He was previously with Oakland and then obviously recently with the Padres. And they had a lot more problems than I think the Giants do, in my opinion. I don't think Bob Melvin could have solved that. Coming on into the squad, I think he's going to do a good job with this team. I mean, this team is really interesting. They have a lot of good players on this squad. Obviously, they've signed a ton of guys. The Jung Hoo Lee signing, I thought, was a really good one for this squad. Obviously, they need another outfielder. He was the best one if you look at international talent, and I'm glad they kind of got him in their roster. My only problem with Jung Hoo Lee is I wonder if he's going to have the same problem Kim did on the Padres, where he came into the league, he was pretty average, and then as soon as he got to understand more about MLB pitching and MLB kind of styles of the game, he started to play a lot better, and he's been one of the Padres' best players. So I wonder if Jung Hoo Lee's going to have a similar situation where he might be kind of average or a little bit below average when the season starts, and then throughout this season in 2025, he's going to pick it up and start to be a better hitter and player. Because we do see that a lot with these KBO talents, because it's just a different game over there than it is over here. And KBO, it's definitely a good league, but the MLB is far way better in just everything about the game with, the pitching speed, the movement, all that stuff. So it's going to be a big adjustment for him. So it'll be interesting to see if he has the same problem as Kim did, going into this season. But if you look at the financial situation of the Giants, it's actually pretty good. I thought it was going to be a lot worse, but it's actually not. They have $129.3 million committed to the squad right now. If you count on the arbitration guys, it's going to be around $165.8 million. So they've actually got a lot of guys on pretty good contracts, which is something I didn't know. It's just after this season, they're going to have a lot of free agents on the board that it's going to be pretty hard for them to retain, I think, with guys like Michael Conforto being off the books, Alex Cobb being off the books, Ross Stripling, Anthony Disclafani, J.D. Davis, and Austin Slater. So a lot of guys are being off the books in 2025. And it's going to be really interesting. And you even have more players like Mitch Haniger with a player option, Wilmer Flores, and Luke Jackson with a team option in 25. I don't know if this is their make or break year. You could definitely consider it just because of a lot of guys coming off this books. And you don't really know if they're going to retain all of them or they try to give someone an extension throughout the season. We're going to see. Or even the offseason, there's obviously a ton of time left. We still have all of January and February, which is a pretty big time for most guys to sign, which we're going to see in the next coming months. Because there's still a ton of free agents out there that haven't been signed, a lot of big name players. So we're going to see if those pieces are going to start to fall pretty soon. I think the big question for the Giants is, are they considered a postseason favorite or postseason team? They obviously went 79-83 last year. And looking at that wild card race last year, they were a team in the mix for a little bit of it. But overall, they just got kind of bodied by the rest of the teams ahead of them, and they didn't win any tiebreakers against these teams in the 2023 season. The teams that were ahead of them were the San Diego Padres, the Cincinnati Reds, the Chicago Cubs, Arizona, and Miami. Obviously, Arizona and Miami did get in, but they did tie with the same record on tiebreakers. If we look at the series they played against all these teams, they have a really bad record against a lot of these squads. It just wasn't good at all. And I remember a lot of these series when they played the Reds and the Cubs specifically, they were just getting bodied. I mean, it was not close because I was watching those ones, especially against the Cubs and Wrigley, that in that September one I think they played. Cubs kind of were all over them in that series. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. They're going to have to learn how to beat these top teams and kind of beat the teams ahead of them next year, and we're going to see if they're able to do that. Giants obviously going to have that rookie talent as well in that squad. Last year they had a couple rookies in their team that were hitting pretty well, and they're obviously going to be back for this season. They probably have even more guys in the system. If we take a look at some of these Giants prospects right now, their 2024 ETAs, they do have a couple guys that are supposed to be posted in this 2024 season. A lot of them are pitchers and outfielders, so it's going to be interesting on how that's going to go. Obviously, they already have a pretty good amount of outfielders as it is, but we're going to see if these guys are any good or they're going to play any good this season. And obviously, spring training will be a big moment for a lot of these players, all these prospects in general, and how good they're actually going to perform. You never know, we might see some of these guys in that spring breakout coming up in March. But I think my prediction for the Giants this year, I think they're going to be right around 500 again. I mean, it's really hard to just put this squad above a lot of the other squads on this list. I mean, I think maybe a squad you can put ahead of them is probably Chicago. They haven't really done much at all this offseason. And probably the Padres, but I can't really put them past the Reds, Arizona, or Philly. It's just hard for me to really do that because those squads have made some really good moves and they're just really talented squads and they're getting better this year. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. The Giants will be in the mix for sure about it again this year. Maybe they won't be on the outside like they were kind of this year because they were always around, but they didn't really feel like they had a shot to really be in that top 3 position. But overall, that's kind of where I have the Giants, probably a little bit outside the top 3 when it comes to the wild card spots. We'll see though, a lot can change throughout the season. I mean, a lot can change even now throughout the offseason, let's be honest. Especially when it comes to that trade deadline and making moves. It's going to be pretty interesting where the Giants stand. So that's kind of where I have the Giants right now. Where do you guys have this team going forward? Because it's a really interesting squad, and it's kind of hard to predict where they're going to be, at least in my opinion. Compared to other squads, you can kind of predict where they're going to fall, I think. But with the Giants, I think it's really random. Because it's like they're not going to be horrible, but they're not going to be really great, and they could just be mediocre again. At least we're going to wait and see. If you guys did enjoy this video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Let me know where you think the Giants are going to stand in this 2024 season. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.